ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the BoostUp. We are now going towards an efficiency and safety in manufacturing session run by Gianluca Griffi, our business creation manager that is based in Milan in Italy. So yesterday we heard about Gianluca and his green heart for green manufacturing, but he is also very passionate about ensuring an efficient use of natural resources and safety for the operators. And that is the topic at the center of this panel. We will have investors and startups talking about adopting safety-focusing solutions in the industry. What is the end user's perspective? Also, how can we improve efficiency of the manufacturing lines? And when you're a startup and when you develop such solutions addressing those challenges, how it is with the development, the scaling, and the investors. On the other side, we will have the investor perspective, how it is when they invest in this kind of startups and what's their experience. So I would like to invite Mr. Gianluca Griffi to open the session and to start the introduction of his panelists.
Thank you, Yasmina. Thank you so much for your introduction. And yes, I have the great honor of, first of all, closing this BoostUp RIP with the last panel. And also, I'd like to present you my four fellows here in the panel that will help us in this journey. I'd like to start with Lucia Chierchia from Gelify, Italy. Gelify is an innovation platform that connects high-tech business-to-business startups with traditional companies. Hello, Lucia. Welcome.
Hi, Gianluca.
Hi. And also we have with us today Linda Krondal from Things, a deep tech hub in Sweden with about 100 member companies ranging from corporate-ready startups to large corporates. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you very much.
And in fact, since we have talked about corporate-ready startups, excuse me, we have also representatives of two of those organizations. I'll start with Dr. André Godinho-Luz, the co-founder of Infinite Foundry, a digital twin platform accurately reproducing 3D model of the factory. Hello, André.
Hello, Gianluca.
And finally, our fourth panelist is Dr. Matthias Klenner, Managing Director of Ondosense, a startup developing breakthrough sensor technology for a digitalized industrial world. Hello, Matthias.
Hi, Gianluca.
Thank you, all of you, for joining our panel. And let's go straight to the point. I'd like to discussion. I'd like to involve, to begin with, Lucia Chierchia from Gelify. And, Lucia, the topics, efficiency and safety, are quite wide. And somehow they're even conflicting, since safety involves redundancy, usually at least, while efficiency focuses on the essential and so on. Can you help us shedding some light on the role of investors in boosting up deep tech innovative manufacturing solutions addressing those themes? How do investors help addressing those themes?
Okay, thanks, Gianluca, for the question. Okay, there are some considerations that actually are valid in general in all the B2B context, okay, not only in digital. And then there are some considerations that could be very specific for solutions focused on efficiency and safety. So I would say five, okay, main consideration regarding how to invest, okay, which kind of approach we can use to invest on these kind of startups, and I would say also small and medium enterprises with a bigger potential to scale up. Point number one, we have to invest intensively, because we have to make a startup concentrate on their growth to avoid they waste time in periodical capital raising, okay? Second, we have to cover the gaps of the startups, supporting them in the physical construction of the missing asset, from the technology to sales channel, from processes to people, okay? So they not just need money, they need a partner, a real partner, not just an investor, okay, to help them to build the missing asset. Point number three, we have to drive startups even in the design and execution of their business plan and growth strategy, because they have sometimes to reshape their offering or even calibrate the offering according to the market evolution. Point number four, The most important one, since it's B2B, we have to enable, I would say, access to the market, connecting startup with their potential customers, but also helping them in the test of the solution in a manufacturing context that is complex and even diverse, okay, sector by sector. And we have also to help them in the integration of emerging technology into, as you said, traditional, or I would say consolidated corporate infrastructure. And then the last, we have to create an ecosystem involving investors, other investors, involving corporates and startups together, because these ecosystem can help them to contaminate each other and to evolve together. Focusing specifically on efficiency solution. When we say efficiency, we mean operational excellence. Okay, do more with less. I think that many the activity is not really on startup side, is mainly on corporate side. The traditional company, Gianluca, that you said before. So we have to drive corporates in the definition of clear KPIs from customer standpoint, okay, in order to facilitate and accelerate the decision-making process, okay? So it means the allocation of budget for pilot project with valuable startups, and also to support the scale-up phase. I mean, not the scale-up of the startup, but the scale-up of the solution into the corporate, okay? This is the real challenge. So here, the role of investors is to integrate competencies on the field, for example, in manufacturing, to facilitate the integration of startups, technologies that in some cases are not specific for manufacturing efficiency, okay? Mainly, they can be also cross-sector solutions. And then safety. We have to move beyond the traditional concept of safety and speak about wellness. And startups can offer innovative, very innovative solution for a better industrial environment, okay? From sensing solution to air management, from flexible protections to exoskeletons. Here, I think that the role of investors is to disseminate a new vision about this industrial environment, about wellness, to influence company strategic areas and create interest even in emerging technologies from startup ecosystems, okay? Because startups are ready. The corporate has to prepare themselves for the evolution. That's my point of view on that.
Oh, thank you so much, Lucia. Thank you for your insight. I'd like now to involve Andre from Infinite Foundry. And, I would like to ask you, first of all, what is the impact of the offerings of your company, Infinite Foundry, in improving efficiency and safety in the production line? But also taking from what Lucia just shared, what is your experience in engaging with corporates? And if you see the same, you share the same concerns that Lucia just mentioned. Please, Andre, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Gianluca, for the question and for the opportunity for us to present our company. So as you have mentioned, we work in 3D digital twins. So it's basically an exact replica in 3D of what happens in the factory. And exactly efficiency and safety are two of the main features of our technology. Because imagine that a factory, when you want to change something in the process, usually the calculation is limited to a part of the production. With our technology, you can calculate holistically the entire factory line and how is the effect, not only on the process itself, but for example, on logistics, on ergonomics, and on other considerations. So you have a full perspective that you can run the optimization of your factory virtually, and you can therefore be more efficient because you can find small errors and small areas that you can improve in the factory, and you can improve efficiency. And safety is also very important. You have manual tasks. Industry nowadays has to be flexible, so of course you need to keep the flexibility with the manual operators. And by having the 3D perspective, you can calculate if the workplace is ergonomically safe. So if you don't have any task that requires you too much strength or a bad position, ergonomic position. Our technology also helps one thing that is very important that Lucia mentioned, which is on wellness. Because, for example, we can allow the worker, even before they go to their workplace, they can execute the tasks virtually in the virtual environment. Because as we have the replica of the factory, the worker can go immersively inside of that replica, and using virtual reality, they can run they can do the tasks, and then they can give feedback to their manager saying, okay, this I feel right or I don't feel right in this workplace. So digitalization and 3D digitalization is very important for these two topics of efficiency and safety. Going to the second part of your question, of course, when you are talking about corporates, specifically large corporates, it's always a complex process. They have many technologies, have many companies. So it's always it takes some time to develop the business with them. It's not that the business is not there, but their organization, it takes time to make the decisions because they have many different challenges. So our technology, that's why has been built for the two main applications, so large corporates, but also small SMEs. And specifically for us, we see even a bigger opportunity in small SMEs. You can, for example, consider Volkswagen. They have 100 factories worldwide, but their suppliers have 10,000 factories worldwide. So the opportunity for this is much more on the supply chain, which has less complex approval mechanism than really on the big OEMs and the big corporates.
Well, thank you so much, Andre. Thank you for your insights. And Lucia, hearing from the experience from Andre, what would be your? Do you have any recommendation for companies in the same status of development of Infinite Foundry? Or any hints you want to share with us?
Yeah. But the case from Andre from Infinite Foundry is a perfect case of the typical challenge some corporations are living now. So Andre spoke about digitalization. Okay, actually, the real challenge is not really about digital, but about the integration of digital into an ecosystem, into a context that is probably not prepared, that is totally physical. Okay, the case of Andre is probably a little bit different, because in this case, mainly we need a digital friend, okay, to help us, okay, in the design of the physical infrastructure, okay? And probably it seems easier, it seems. Actually, the challenge that I see some corporations are living is about time. Because if you are not able to deliver a case like the one described by Andre in a short time, you're not able to have a sustainable business case, okay? So agility, okay, lean approach is crucial. Because if you are going to design a new manufacturing footprint and you have a virtual simulator, okay, to support you in the definition of the ergonomy, on the layout, and so on and so forth, if you're not able to have in a short time this simulator and to have also a solution that can calibrate from one day to the other, it is unuseful, okay? That's the reason, because we need the solution from startups, because they actually overcome this kind of barriers, because they fix this problem in order to help a corporate to reach the KPIs, simply.
Well, thank you so much, Lucia. Thank you for your precious hints. And actually, I'd like to involve now Linda Krondal, because Things is a deep tech hub connecting or having among their members startups and corporates. So from your perspective and integrating what has been shared already earlier today, what are the access to market challenges for safety solutions from the point of view of the end user? So certification needs, I don't know, anything that you think is important to point out?
I think there's a couple of different angles to the topic of efficiency and the safety. Some of them have been mentioned, and I mean, so we have, of course, a physical safety in the industry or in the building site, but we also have all the cybersecurity and that type of safety in that sense. And I think in general, when we at Things we have about 100 member companies, like you mentioned, big and small, and from international sources. And what we spend a lot of our time on is to make them meet the customers, the first, second, or 10th customer. And that's kind of all or full focus. So when I look at this, it's less from an investor point of view, but rather as a proxy for the customer in a way, because I have a firm belief that if you find your customer, the money will find you. And I think one main thing to take with you as a startup is to don't focus on the money, focus on the customer, because that's the only thing that the investor will look at. So I think that's really one of the important things. And then if I put on the hat as a customer in this case, I would say make it, I don't want to downplay the certificates and stuff like that, but I think what you should do is really to offer me an easy to try product or solution. If I get to taste it, to play with it, I can internally then, I will feed back to you whatever you need to do, may it be certificates or other types of kind of legal requirements, or just as a big stopper in the same level, it could be my firewall. So there's hundreds of hurdles in my big company that I need to kind of help you, guide you, startup through to get a real life process. So I would say talk to the customers initially, and then they will point at whatever stops you from growing and scaling in collaboration with them. So that's my main takeaway, I would say. I think Lucia also touched upon, or you, Gianluca, on the kind of what's the climate connection or impact in this. So efficiency, often we have companies coming to us and saying, well, do you work with sustainability? And of course, I mean, who doesn't work with sustainability? But we don't specify that specifically. We work with deep tech technologies in industry and infrastructure and so on. But whatever makes the customers work better and more efficient will, in most senses, have a positive impact on climate and sustainability. If they save energy, if they save material, if they save lives, if they save everything, that will have a positive impact in the long run. So I think that whatever we do to make industry more efficient and more safe will also have a green impact on the whole industry as a whole. I also, let's see, I put down some points while we were talking. I think if I would have one suggestion to startups in this sense, I would say don't focus too much on the legal stuff. Focus on presenting a great product that someone is really trying to get their hands on. With that, they will be able to develop that further. They will become the internal hero. They need internal heroes to kind of widen the scope for you. And that then the rest will follow, in short.
Okay. So it's developing a great value proposition to easily find customers, and money will come. If you have a good offering, money will come. And
then they will point you exactly to what certificates or what requirements that you need to follow in their industry. Sure, and everything else will come through. And thank you very much, Linda. Matthias from OndoSense, can you share with us not only the innovative solution OndoSense has, of course, but also what is your experience in this access to market, field area and so on? And what is your strategy?
Yes, I can. So first of all, what we are doing at OndoSense is we are a company really focused on a new technology, which is radar sensor technology for industrial purposes. And I want to give you a very short example of what this actually means. So if you think of radar technology, this is not new. So this has been there like forever. Basically, you think about ships and planes, and especially when you think about ship radar, this already has a safety aspect. Usually you use your radar to identify other ships, to keep you safe from them. And then in the last maybe 10 or 15 years, there has been a strong progress in the technology driven by automotive industry. And also there, it has a very strong safety aspect because radar technology is extremely robust. So when your optical systems might fail due to very heavy weather or fastly changing lights, there's always a radar system that keeps you safe when you're driving your autonomous car, for example, in the future. So this is where the technology has been pushed basically in the last 10 years. And what we did at OndoSense, we went one step further, and we brought this technology to industrial processes, to the manufacturing plant, because there are very, very different challenges than in the automotive sector, because you need much higher accuracy. Space is usually always very, very limited in all machines, so you need very compact sensors which are able to measure in the near field. And this is what we do at Ondosense. So we have a very, very robust technology that can still measure processes, machines, very precisely, even under very harsh conditions. And this is, of course, a technology which is also very promising for safety aspects. For example, human-machine collaboration, or to safely steer autonomous guided vehicles through outdoor environments. So this is where our technology becomes very handy. And as you might already hear out from what I'm telling you, this is a new technology, which is not very well established in industrial processes yet. So then at the same time, it's quite complex in terms that there is no visual help, you have no camera image, you have no laser beam. So this is a kind of an abstract technology. So one of the challenges we have is to really, really explain very well the benefits and the KPIs, the USPs of this technologies to our customer. And this bridges the gap to our access to market strategy, because many of the points Lucia and Linda said are very important, because I think, especially if you have a new technology that you have to talk a lot about, your customers need to test it, and they need to be happy with it from the second they switch it on, basically. So this is part of our strategy. We have an evaluation kit that we can sell to our customers, and we expect them to really easily test our technologies in their own environment. And they get really, really strong support from our engineers. And basically, even though we are a small company with about 14 employees now, half of our development team is basically working on user experience and supporting our pilot customers. And from there, as Linda really nicely said, we need to learn about the certifications. We need to learn about the particular problems. And indeed, I can confirm we had customers who had problems with the firewall. So really easy problems, but you have to learn them and know them. And then you can go from there, and then you can scale up. So for us, I think the first step is always to talk to the customers. We don't want to earn much money with this first phase. So we have a little price tag on that to just avoid that anyone, new technology. Of course, we want to try it, but there's no real interest. So we have a small price tag on that. But we try to make our customers as easy as possible to test the solution in their own environment, to keep them starting with it very early on. And then with the customer and their experiences and their data, so this, of course, a connected solution as a modern sensor, we can learn what actual certifications are needed in the environment, and what customizations and problems need to be solved for that specific corporate to really scale the solution. And I think then, as you said, money will come. And also we made the experience that, as Lucia very nicely said, investors need to be strategic, because you need to find these pilot customers. And this is the really, really hard part. So we try to work only with investors that really give us this network, and search for partners that have this network to access the market, and then make customers easy to test our product. So that's basically our strategy at Ondosense.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And then Linda, what is your, do you have any reaction based on the information shared by Matthias, their strategy, or recommendations for Ondosense and for the Ondosense-like startups? What can you say about that?
Well, I would say that Matthias is probably really already on the ball, so I would not comment to any personal recommendations. I think the guys are doing a really good job. I think he was really pushing on one thing there, to make a really small, easy-to-use package, because we have a really strong benefit being a startup here, where we can, now I'll put the startup hat on, you are so cheap in what you do. I mean, when I talk to big corporates, they often expect a price tag with an extra zero compared to what they actually get. So they can often do a small pilot for 5,000, 10,000 euros. Whereas a big corporate, they're used to adding a zero on that. And so it's really, if once you get your foot in, package it in a way that they can really, it's so small money for them, but the value for you is really to get the real customer input back. And for you, the reference, of course, for all startups, that reference is worth more than the money, I would say. So I think make it really easy to sell, because then it can, of course, I mean, this is for granted. You build it so it's super easy to scale in terms of onboarding new customers and that stuff. Whereas your kind of competitors with older solutions, they often have a backpack which is very heavy in terms of personnel costs, systems, the processes are heavier. You can be the fast, quick, cheap solution and get in there, prove that you have a superior product, and then you can scale and then have a kind of normal price tag on. And I think a lot of the corporates, they don't really realize how far they could come with small money and short time. So we should really use that benefit as being a small, flexible company.
Well, thank you so much, Linda. And actually, thank all of my fellow panelists for your precious hints to Linda, Lucia, Andre, and Matthias. And we finished that panel here. And actually, this is the last panel of BoostUp RIS. So thank you for participating or attending. And then next, I believe there will be, or at least soon, there will be the award ceremony. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Gianluca, and thank you everybody for your inputs. We hope that you like the session.